So hey everyone, I'm hanging in there. Made it another week, so that's something, or another 2 weeks. Um, as far as writing news, I have gotten back to working on the lesbian romance, and I'm trying to finish working on a Winterfall short project as well as doing some editing on the sequel. At the moment, it's one of the, I'm trying to get back to the alternating system that I was working on, two projects at once. Well, not, concurrently, I guess would be a better way to put it. Um, I'm working on uh, trying to get Winterfall 2 ready, working on completing enough stories to have an anthology to put together, and then determine exactly what I want to do with the release schedule. Because the original plan was going to be that and I mean, this part of the plan is still solid, but Vanguard is coming out in July. The Blue Moon anthology is supposed to come out sometime during October. I haven't decided exactly when. It all kind of depends on how things come together and when things come together, but certainly by the end of the month is the plan. Um, I have plans to release at least one Winterfall title sometime in the winter of 2026, 2027, because I wanted to release Winterfall books during the winter. That was the original plan. But for Furry Award season and for other things, I'm definitely probably, well, more than likely going to hold it over until the early part of 2027. But since winter starts at December 21st, I want to try and give it time to gather an audience. So I will probably wait until at least the beginning of 2027 and release either one or both, depending on how things go. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not in a rush to get things out, and I certainly want to take my time to make sure they're as good as they can be. But also, it's kind of like now that I sort of have a pipeline going, I kind of want to spread it out to some degree. Um, a lot of the short stories are based before, during, and after the first book, so really I could release them in either order. It doesn't really particularly, it wasn't even originally planned to do a Winterfall anthology, but when I realized that I had 8 of them, it was just like all I really need to do is about 4 more, and then I would have enough to complete an anthology. Because I usually like to have at least 12 stories for that sort of thing, just so that it has enough variety to seem worth it, and it's enough stories to, I think, make a decent collection. Um, we'll see. Right now, Winterfall releases are TBD, but the goal is to hopefully release at least one during winter of 2026, winter of 2027, and what happens with the other one, we'll see. I mean, I was hoping not to, at least with a couple of Winterfalls, not to have a super long gap between releases, but I'm also relatively new to figuring out exactly how my current uh, pipeline is going to work, because I've always had trouble being steady with my output, at least in the past. And now that I kind of have a little bit of a mechanism going, I kind of want to see if I can maintain it. I mean, one of the primary things is that with everything else going on, it's like I don't want to stress myself out any more than I have to. So I'm not pushing myself um, to release things on schedule or anything like that. It's like I'm trying to give myself plenty of time to have it ready, to have it good, and have time for it to just kind of sit and gel until such time as I actually release it. Um, so we'll see. But for right now, the plan is Vanguard in July, Blue Moon Anthology in October, and the next one TBD, but hopefully something sometime in the winter of 2026. Um, we'll see exactly what happens beyond that. I don't know. But, as I make a determination, it depends on really how quickly the editing progresses, which one gets finished first, and also how things shape up as far as a cover. So there's a lot of things in the air right now. Video news. I'm going to be doing a lot of video plates today, so probably, not a lot of finished videos today, but just getting some more elements together for a few more book reviews. Um, and obviously a vlog, and that'll probably be it. Books I'm reading, still reading the same cluster. I'm still working on Remnant's Hope, Guilty Pleasures, the Anita Blake book, And while I'm on the subject, I have to say that it kind of reminds me a little bit of why vampire lore generally just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's not a bad book. I don't really remember much of the plot. I'm kind of remembering bits and pieces of it, but I'm kind of remembering that one of the reasons I read it was because at the time, a friend was reading it and said I should, and I kind of was like, okay, let's, so something we'd have in common. And I read up until like I think the 10th book before I gave up, and then I just kind of stopped reading them because, part of the problem was at the time, and it's always generally been the case. I'm not a huge vampire person. It takes a lot or a very specific type of story to really get me interested in vampires, because I'll be honest. Usually if I see a vampire project, it's almost always a pass. It just has to be one of those rare things, really exceptional, to get my attention. And that being said, it's I kind of think it's a point in its favor if it does catch my attention. One of the few vampire things I used to get into, and I suppose I still do to some degree, is Buffy, Angel. This is long before I knew the problematicness of Joss Whedon, which is kind of frustrating because it's still a series I enjoy, but it's harder to enjoy it now that other things have come out. I suppose it could be worse. At least it's not like the J.K. Rowling situation, but still, it's not great, and it's always frustrating when creators turn out to be problematic for whatever reason. But that being said, we'll see. I'm gonna finish the book, and then I'll kind of make a determination. But at this point, I don't think I'm gonna reread the rest of the series. Big Bad Wolf, I still need to read some more of that. I started reading like a little bit of the intro, but I kind of want to, I'm kind of going back and forth. I want to savor it because I really want to. I'm hoping it's a good book, but we'll see. It's on the current pile, but right now I'm just trying to focus on, on reading like 3 at a time. 3 major books at a time, because it's a lot. But it's enough that I can enjoy it, enough that I have variety, enough that I'm spreading things around, and so on and so forth. So we'll see where that goes. I'm reading Ring of Fire, the Star Trek Strange New Worlds book. So far it's going really well. I'm really enjoying it, but I kind of expected I would, because David Mack is one of my favorite Star Trek authors. He's one of my favorite non-furry authors, and he's almost a guarantee, at least for me, of a guaranteed good time. So I'm expecting good things from this book, as I usually do, because I tend to have favorable reviews for Mr. Mack. Trader by Jay Coates, which is going very well. I'm enjoying the book as well. I've been looking forward to getting back into the Starret series. Of course, after I read the first one, I read Dragon Soul because it was a new release. I am hoping to pick up Chasing Thieves probably next week, and we will see what happens when I get into that one. I will probably prioritize it over the other Starret books because it is a relatively new release, and I want to make sure that I have time to read it and time to have feedback for a furry award season next year. And we'll see. I'm expecting good things because I usually I've liked all the stuff I've read from Jay so far. Let's see, what else is there? Gaming, I've been playing a lot of Trails in the Sky first chapter, Trails into Daybreak 2. I'm trying to sort of at least finish one or both of those so that I can sort of balance my output a little bit more. I've been playing, I think, something called like Tailside Cafe, which is like a fox running a cafe or something, and a couple of games that are skipping my mind at the moment. I started Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart again. I do need to keep going with that, and I need to play some more Frostpunk 2 and Final Fantasy Tactics, which I started, but I got distracted by a bunch of things. But, that's it for now. I'm going to try and do a little bit of video plates and see what I can accomplish today. But, it's probably going to be like a lot of elements of videos today, and then next week I'll be doing a lot of editing and hopefully getting some stuff up for you. But that's it for now, so I will catch you all in 2 weeks. If you like post-apocalyptic fiction, polar bears, and adventure, check out my newest release, Winterfall, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. And don't forget about my werewolf novel, Blue Moon.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Zebra hugs!